What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Core Conversations for Thursday. It is a Freestyle Thursday, and we're going to talk about our relationship with strength. Our dad goals are back after missing that the other day, and welcome everyone. Hi Sharon, Shanti. We are Pilates House, Astros. Good to see everybody. Hi, Janine. So I have a lot to talk about. All right, Shanti, we'll talk about it later. We had a fantastic conversation yesterday with Noam and Misty. If you didn't get a chance to watch that conversation from yesterday, it's like a water just like rushing and just washing over you. Like, it was just a refreshing talk. Misty dropped some lines, Noam dropped some lines, I threw some stuff into the mix, and I want to spend some time today unpacking some of those things. Love for you to join me in the chat, love for you to join me on the screen just to interact as we go after it. There's so many different things that were said that like I need 9 more hours to get through everything because it was just so good on so many levels. So let me get some housekeeping stuff out of the way here, and then we're gonna chase after this. So first of all, the Core Conversations podcast. It was Michelle Sims on the drop yesterday. Let's try it again. Hi Jane. So like, subscribe, and share. New episode every. Kalo Pilates, what's going on? Each Wednesday. Okay, so there's that. So that's one thing. And I do one more thing is I just invite some people in here. Stefan was just doing a great workout there with Anita on the other page. All right, so we're good to go. Kalo, where are you located? Hi, Anita. Anita, if you want to join me on the screen, I'd love to hear about your workout. I just tuned in for like the last minute, so I totally missed it. But yeah, it'd be good to just chat with you about what's going on and some of the things. I have so many notes from my conversation yesterday with Noel. Crazy. Where to even start? We talked about everything from silence to balance, mobility, dynamic strength, the relationship with strength. Let's start there. One of the things that was said yesterday by Misty, piggybacking on something that Noam said, was that as a dancer, her body was her tool, but she didn't like her body the way she loves it now. And let's bring Anita on the house. See if that works.
You gotta turn the camera around. Hey! Grandma skills. That's all I can say. I am qualifying for grandma status.
Too funny.
the invite. It's always awesome to
Mhm.
chat with you, and glad that you saw I'm wearing Stefan's swag.
Nice. Yeah, yeah. What were you guys doing? I watched like 2 minutes of it and then it ended. Like, it kind of there's a delay, so then
Yeah,
it just
yeah.
cut out. So I missed it. But what were you guys doing, and when are you doing it next? That's really the
So
question.
it was a workout collab, and Stefan has asked me to teach him Pilates, and that was really awesome. But he didn't. It was a I don't know what the word is, but he kind of hoodwinked me into it and didn't really give me full disclosure on his uh, really talented past as in athletics.
Right.
So I said, hey, like, what if you taught me? Because I don't, yeah, I was a musician all my life. And I mean, I went to the gym and I learned some moves here and there, but I've never been actually taught by somebody who has so much,
Like an elite
yeah.
athlete. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was like, it helps me also understand where he's coming from. And so, yeah, it was a lot of fun. He started out with some drills for runners, warm-up drills for runners, and just general, warm-ups for
Yeah.
athletics. And then,
Conditioning.
and
Yeah.
then I finished off with 100, a little bit of, what did we do? Roll-ups, half roll back for me, single leg circle. Uh, and then, yeah, just a little bit of the beginning of the mat workout, and then popped on up and did the push-up. Because even if you only do 4 or 5 exercises, it's great to come up and do the full push-up thing,
Roll out, walk
and
out, push up,
yeah,
walk back in.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then get that really good, like this is the end kind of feeling. I'll try to
Yeah.
stand up and stay moving because I was gonna go out and do some jump roping.
Oh, were you?
Now that I'm warmed up. Yeah.
Nice.
So
No,
so
that's
we
cool.
hope to do it again.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I'll look out for that. Which I saw you in the chat. Was it yesterday that you joined us, or was it when I?
When you had Delphina,
Yes, that was so fun.
that was
And
awesome.
I've had such good people on that I totally didn't spend as much time like on talking about and recapping that as I did because it's just like life has moved so quickly.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, yeah.
but she was good. She was really good.
And thank you so much for giving me the heads up for that chat because it was, how did you know to how did you know that that was exactly what I needed?
The empowering your kids part.
What everything, like
Yeah.
just the fact that she's starting up, and I'm in that headspace right now looking for space, and is it
Mhm.
I
What's
finally realized what it's like to think about opening a studio right now. It's kind of like being pregnant, and one day it's one child, and another day it's like, oh no, you've got triplets in there. But it like changes, and
yeah.
and your conception is like, so what is it? What am I birthing here?
That's a great way of saying it. What am I birthing here? Right? Because
Yeah,
it's generally speaking a human being
yeah,
and
yeah. I mean,
full
it is
stop.
literally our baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just don't
Yeah.
know, is it a single baby, or is there a whole bunch of them? Are you going to do this alone? Is it going to happen at home? Is it going to happen in the hospital? Are you going to have a whole team? Are we going to get there on time?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
all kind of factors and everything. It's exciting. It's an
That's
exciting place to be.
that's a great analogy because even like I think of our second son, my wife at the time was
Mhm.
expecting and was going to have a C-section, and he came a month early. So even
Wow.
when you're like, his birthday's tomorrow, so it's funny. I was kind of thinking in this in the vein. So he's 16.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
16 years ago, we're having
Oh,
this
wow.
conversation about her. She had a C-section for the first one, so it was a planned scheduled C for the second one, sometime in June. She goes to the hospital on May 20th, and then we have a baby, right? So you have this idea in terms of what your business is going to look like. You're pregnant with this
Yeah.
idea, you have this
Hmm.
concept, and then someone comes along and says, like, I like what you're doing. I'm gonna back you to start a studio, and I have a space if you want to get this going now. It's like, well, that was my 2-year plan that's happening this week now.
Yeah. And it's supposed to be a good thing, and it can all of a sudden stress you out. And
Yes.
Like, I think the Delphina said a phrase to me. She was like, "You got to pay to play," and I think, and that's just kind of the name of the game right now. Because like
Yeah, yeah,
I had this plan, and I was like, I'm going to move my existing equipment into a space, and then I'll move if I have to. And just yesterday, I gave word, yes, I will take a second reformer. I don't know where I'm going to put a second reformer, but that just changed the game.
right. Yeah.
Because I was like, yeah, I need a second reformer.
Mhm.
It's not an impulse buy. I'm definitely not an impulse buy.
Yeah. Right. So that kind of thing, right? Like, so how we go through that process. And I'm always curious, like, even buying that second reformer, what was your thought process? What made you decide now is the season to jump? Those sort of things. Because, like, the more
Um,
versions of that story we hear, the more it's
yeah.
going to resonate with somebody, right?
So this was it has to do with Edgar Tirado, who I wish I could show you my reformer. We call it the Borg. We have a history with my reformer that he sent me, and I purchased it while I was in my course with the Pilates Center.
Okay.
And so I didn't have equipment, and I had started the program, and I was going to Louisville, and it was like, no, you need your own equipment. It needs to be classical. So Edgar Tirado had that available, and he recently it popped up on my feed, in Facebook on the marketplace, that there was Erica in Louisville, Erica Walters of Pilates Fit Studio had a Tirado reformer that she was
Yeah.
going to sell. And so that's when like my antenna went up for the first time. It's like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
a second Tirado reformer. And then Edgar Tirado himself sent me a message and said, I've got one that is the sister of your Borg. And would you like it? Would you be interested? And the price was really good.
Mhm.
And I had been holding some money for a space that I thought I was going into.
Yes.
And I just have to add a little bit more money, and then voila, I have my second reformer.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, sometimes it's just kind of like who messages you when.
Yes. I yeah,
Yeah.
so Delphina, if you want to join us, give me a thumbs up if you want to join us in the chat. That'd be awesome if you could.
Yeah,
Um,
I get to meet her in video then.
yeah, exactly. So, and similar story for my Pilates stuff too, right? Like, you kind of open your head to the thought that it might happen. And then I was like, I just put some feelers out, like, if anyone's selling equipment or do you know anyone? And then the person who's selling the equipment you see behind me was like, actually, with these COVID restrictions, I'm getting rid of basically every other machine because we need space and like, so I wasn't planning on selling anything, but I need to get rid of two of them. So if you want it, so I was
Yeah.
like, yes. And then that kind of
Mhm.
got the ball rolling with everything. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's that. Once again, that was like a premature birth, right? Because I wasn't ready for it, but
Yeah.
like I was technically prepared for it, but I wasn't ready. If we could
Yeah.
differentiate that way.
Okay. So I recently had a dance recital, because I'm a try to keep active, and so I've been taking tap for almost 2 years. And I did it as a young girl, but in the first week, we went way past my skill set. And I was like,
Yes.
I'm not good at it, but it's good to have this sense of like, I'm learning, I'm a beginner, I feel like I'm floundering, and
Yes.
then also having the confidence of acquiring new skills and saying like, hey, I can do this. I've like just spent an hour today trying to figure out which is my right foot, which is my left foot, which is my heel, which is my toe.
Mhm.
And it's funny, it's empowering. It's like learning to walk all over again. But for the recital, I had this light bulb moment, like Anita is ready, but perfectionist Anita is not.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we're like two different people rolled up in one, and it's like, it's fine, you're gonna have fun. What are you like stressing out over? But perfectionist Anita needed to have that, it's like a bear and a post. You just needed to scratch that itch. So yeah, I had a lot of fun, and both Anita and perfectionist Anita had fun.
Which is a bonus.
Yeah, but I did have to rein in perfectionist Anita a little bit, because it was like, come on, you're not getting graded on this. It's not It's just to have fun, and you're not going to fall and face plant. It's fine as it is now, as you're fluffing through the steps. That's an important part of it too. Like, it's not so much like, did I get the perfect step? Did I execute it perfectly? I'm in the stage right now. If I'm standing and I can lift a foot and hop on that foot, it's great. Says the Pilates teacher.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I'm sure that resonates with people. The Anita and the perfectionist Anita, right? Like that
Yeah.
is so much of what we struggle with internally here. I think Delphina's coming in here.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I just talked with her yesterday.
Hey,
Good morning.
Heidi.
Not in the studio.
not in the studio?
No, not now. I'm here with my little puppy here, doing
Oh,
some
beautiful.
mind-body stuff.
Mhm.
Great.
Yes.
Nice.
Nice to meet you in person, Anita.
Yeah, nice to
Yeah.
meet you too.
So Delphina, I don't.
So what are
I
you
don't know
guys
if
talking about today?
Well, I was gonna say like the when we did our live in the chat, like all the chats coming up, and Anita was just like Explore Pilates was her handle. So true, resonates with me. Thanks for saying that. Like, there's so many things
Oh gosh,
that we.
yeah. No, it was an awesome chat.
Yes, I really enjoyed it a lot.
And I wonder if it was the part where you might have been talking about parenting and Pilates, or
And how connected, absolutely. Yes.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think, we can show our kids so much about what we're doing, and especially, I mean,
Oh, we lost your audio there. There.
and being a lot of them had to be home alone for so long, and they just
yeah,
got sad, and and it's such an uplifting movement that
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we just discovered that we are both ballet moms. So our daughters are both in ballet, and
Oh, are you?
as Pilates teacher moms, that's, you've got the stage mom side, but then there's also okay, we've got the Pilates, use it.
Okay, so
100%.
tell me, educate me on that. Like I'm a basketball dad. There's no like I raised two boys, so this is like you're on a totally different planet in a different galaxy.
Yes.
Really? Why? We still have
1,000%.
appointments, we still have events, we still have, the kids got to get ready for the events and the practice and the performance. So they're actually.
Did your boys do
it's
Pilates, Martin?
They've done a little bit of Pilates, but like it's a ski mom. There, no, the basketball is different though. I mean, I see like my brother with his girls too. If he was here, he'd be like banging a bunch of stuff on it because like it's just like grab your backpack, let's go. It's not like, oh, we have to get this
Do
outfit,
the hair,
and we have to do this, we have to do the hair, we have a recital.
It's a
okay, it's a long
process.
weekend. Like it's he has a basketball tournament in Montreal. It's like, okay, drop you off at the bus station at 8:30 on Friday. Sweet, get you on Sunday. Let me know how it goes. Right? Like,
That is not my life.
No, that's true. No, that part, no, we don't have that. But yeah, it's, as far as the movement though, ballet is a very, very athletic.
Yeah,
it's very rigorous, and so
disciplined.
my daughter is now at the point where they are adding in Pilates into their class time, and so I was like, well, you're getting Pilates anyway, so we might as well build on that. So you get the full. You've got it at home, and I accidentally used a Harry Potter analogy, and I was like, if you had a magic wand, what would you do with it? And my daughter says, I would use it. I said, hello, I'm your magic wand.
That's the magic wand, yes. Well, I have also my son who's in the middle. He's a swimmer. He competes, but he has zero ability to concentrate, to sit and put his feet on the foot bar. It's like, there's just no control. It's crazy. He's an excellent swimmer. But I think he's just too young. 12, I think is too young for a boy to really, I don't know. From what I've tried so far, I'm like, okay, I might have to wait a little longer.
I had the boys will do Pilates with me from time to time. Like I've, like especially Nathan with his team, like they'll bring me in to work with his team. I've worked with other teams and stuff like that. So I'm trying to carve that niche. And they're, you know, you see LeBron James or like Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
So they see some images, and now I'm their local connection to that idea, right? So I think there's a little bit more buy-in from that perspective. So they'll do it, and they feel it.
Okay.
Like it sells itself just because they feel it. So
Yeah.
I think they can. They're also now they're 15, so I've done that for like through like 13, 14, 15. So they're a bit more locked in. Yeah, a little bit more
Good.
locked in than 12.
Great job.
I think
great,
so.
great work.
From what, I mean, fantastic. I think it's gold for them.
Mhm.
So the girls
well,
are
it's-
very receptive, though. The girls super receptive. They love it. They want to do more. They ask me to do it, but Max might be personality as well.
Person or what they see too, right? Like if they want to be like, you know, they want to be like mom, sure, right? Like
I hope so. But Max, you know what I think will help is getting Danny to do it consistently, and maybe they can put them both together, and maybe he'll follow Dad's suit a little better than the
Right.
girls.
Yeah, and I
Could
think
be.
we talked about that too, right? Like,
Yeah, getting him involved. Pilates for men. There you
if
go.
only we knew
There you go.
someone that did something like that.
Only.
If only.
Who could that be?
Who out there could that be? That's like, I don't know, like this. It's so funny, like that piece of just like the representation, right? Like this, like seeing it just connects for some kids. And also, I was gonna say earlier about like coaches. Like, how much buy-in, Anita, do you have from like the teachers at the ballet school? In the Pilates people?
Actually, one of them is a Romana trained Pilates teacher,
Okay.
but she's very busy as a ballet teacher as well. So it's, she fits in what she can, but she's primarily a ballet teacher right now. So yeah, no, it's hard with schedules in our town to get coordinated and collaborate. Sometimes it's easier to collaborate over Instagram. than to
Yeah,
do
for
locally.
sure.
So,
Proximity
that's
wise.
definitely a challenge. Yeah, definitely
I
a
am
challenge.
so
It's a
early
conversation.
on in the opening of the studio, but that is definitely a dream, is to,
Yeah.
have some sort of collaboration, or I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to go about it, but yeah, it would be wonderful, because I'm only 8 minutes from the ballet school, so it would be fantastic.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get my hands on all those
Yeah.
ballerinas that I've been watching for the past 9 years. Like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, so we have there's a unique dynamic here, right? Like in terms, like my studio is probably like 2 years old, even though I've been training here for a bit. Yours is about to open. Anita's is even more of an
Embryonic.
embryonic
Yeah,
state.
no, not embryonic.
Embryonic.
Not even
Yeah.
infantile. I'm not there
Right.
yet. I haven't birthed yet.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's exactly it. So for those of you who are watching, if you have any questions for us, we're at 3 separate stages that are pretty close, but in that process of opening a studio, right? And not that that's the gold standard, but we're all in the middle of this right now. So fire away with your questions.
That's interesting how you say that, though. It's not the gold standard, but obviously we feel the need to open a studio.
Yep.
So that, I don't know. That's
your
what I am
gold standard.
exploring right now. That's what I'm exploring. It's like, does it make a difference? And for me, I think it just came down to like the writing is on the wall.
Mhm.
I can't do this at home anymore. I need to come home and know that, like I close the door, I'm home. I deserve to have a home.
Yeah.
And my Pilates business has,
It's
elsewhere. It needs to be elsewhere that I can close the door, leave, and be like, oh, I get to go home and do something else, instead of this constant overlap. And I'm sort of like, am I Pilates teacher? Am I mom? Am I ballet mom now? Am I need to go to her own tap class? Do we need to get dinner done? Who am I? So yeah, I think it kind of simplifies. And I think my Pilates business also is kind of asking me, show me the money. Like, you've got this teaching, you've got this great tool, and what are you going to do with it? You're just going to limit yourself, and so that's like the internal process that's going on right now.
Hmm. Interesting. I really enjoy having the separate space, going to it, leaving it, closing the door, then coming home to a whole separate world. It is very
Mm-hmm.
rewarding in that sense. But I did consider a home studio for sure.
Yeah.
But it's challenging with young kids at home too. So it's nice to be able to go there as a
Mm-hmm.
family, by myself. It's my separate space. It's
Yeah.
very therapeutic actually.
Yeah, I had a studio in my house during the pandemic when we moved. I dedicated a whole space to it, and I pretty much never used it.
Mm.
Yeah,
Oh, see.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, because I recognized that the boundary was so important to me
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
that, like, I had like super, super close friends that I trained for a long time in my personal space. But other than that, I didn't want strangers in my home. I wanted that separation of work
Yeah.
and home and all those different things. That even though that was our vision, we
Yes.
realized that that just wasn't the way to do it for us,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
I'd rather have 11 by 17 micro business in another space.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather have a cardboard box and be the king of that cardboard box than have like this palace
100%.
and not use it, right? So
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
it's a chameleon-like existence. It's like your colors are constantly changing, and sometimes I think that crowds our mental space, and we just get like,
yeah, yeah,
mm,
absolutely. That physical space does lend to the mental space for sure.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it
Very
was
interesting.
wonderful to pop in and say hello. Now I must keep going.
Keep
A lot on
moving.
the to-do list today. I
Yeah.
start classes on Monday.
I
Group
saw
classes on
that.
Monday. So yes, I'm super excited. But there's a lot to do. Make sure mind body is where it needs to be. Wow.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Do you have a website?
Tell me. So
Do
the
you have a
website, I
website?
actually have my meeting with my web designer today to get everything finished up so
Oh,
we can take it live. So
nice.
yes,
Ooh,
yes, a lot happening all at once. And I think that's
sounds
just the nature of the beast, right?
great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It all comes together at the same time.
Oh, good for you.
Nice.
I'm so happy.
Cheering for you, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you. I look forward
Mhm.
to catching up
All right.
in a little while.
Cool.
Have a
Yeah.
wonderful day, guys. Thank you
Thanks for
so
jumping in,
much.
Josephine.
Thank
All
you.
right. See ya.
Thank you. Talk
I'm
to you soon.
actually
Bye-bye.
I've got my shoes back on and I'm
All
gonna
right.
step out and continue
Get
with
it.
my workout. Yeah.
Thank you.
Otherwise I lose the momentum.
Yeah.
You know how that is. Like, oh, breakfast.
Mm,
Oh,
nice.
wow.
No, it's cool.
Yeah.
We've done an half hour and I haven't even touched any of my topics yet, so it's all good.
Awesome.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Well,
It's
thanks
so
so
good
much
seeing you.
for having me on.
My pleasure. Okay. See ya. Scoop Pilates and PT. What's going on? Virginia 2012. Hi, Sean. Good to see you again. Looking forward to having you on. Kayla, you still in the house? Italy. Thank you for joining us. Um, there was so much that Noam said yesterday that was so fascinating, so inspiring. I the thing that really hit me yesterday, and I made a post about it today, was the place of refuge. When he talked about that place of refuge, I realized once again how much I love movement, how much movement is medicine, is mental, helps me get into better headspace, helps me in so many different ways, just to be able to just celebrate movement. And I made a post. Will it even show it here? It won't. No, because it's a reel. But stuff like this. Doing my seal, doing overhead. It's like show and tell, right? And all that stuff. And the point was, for all the stuff that's swirling around in my head, things are happening in the world, my own political journey that I'm running on right now, the learning curve of that, much like Anita doing tap and realizing that this is something I know I'm not as, like you're learning. And I've heard people say, do something that you suck at. So that it gets you in that place of humility and empathy for those new learners who are coming into your space. The learning curve is so heavy for me right now, and there's so much that's going on that it feels good to come back to something that my body knows. And the encouragement with that word, that place of refuge, the music, that movement is a place of refuge. For us who are Pilates instructors, movement teachers, personal trainers, for those of you who are like lifelong exercisers, taking classes, doing movement stuff, like I know there's people in the space who are integral parts of this Pilates community who aren't teachers. They just take classes all the time. They love it. They recognize how life-giving it is for them, and they're ambassadors. They're evangelists for this Pilates thing. Movement is medicine. Movement is your place of refuge that you could run into, you could hide in. So I felt like that's what I needed to do this morning. I had a cancellation. I had someone just as I was driving in decide that they're not going to make it. We talked it through. It was a wise thing for them to do, which gave me an hour and a half to just move. Phone down, eyes up, work. And it felt so good. And I felt like sharing it, getting over whatever. I don't have my shirt on. Who cares? It's a still picture. Who cares? All these things, just throw it out there and hope that inspires you to movement. Hope that sparks something in you. Hope that you say, oh yeah, I haven't done seal in a long time. Let me give that a try. Whatever it is, I hope that it impresses upon you that this is something that you're good at. And though you may be busy, though you may be opening a studio or you have 19 things on the run, get down and just move for a few minutes. You'll feel better for it. It'll just bring you back to yourself. It'll whet your appetite. I don't know about you. I don't know if Phil Griffin's in the space still, but there'll be times when I'm demonstrating exercises for somebody on the gym floor, and I'd like say I pick up a dumbbell to demonstrate a single arm incline chest press, and I do one rep, and I put the weight down, and I start talking to the person about their exercise, and my body's like, "You're not gonna do the other side? You're not gonna do more? As soon as this guy's done, get back in there and get one more exercise in." It just like trips something, and then it's like you need more of that. Take that step just to get that trigger in your body. You need more of that. Get the momentum going again. Get that inertia moving again. You'd be surprised how much you're going to want to squeeze that movement practice in if you are the type of person who is kind of just let it go, just counted your demonstrations for your clients as your exercise. All these things, like we're moving still, but when do you get a chance to get into yourself? When do you get the chance to get into yourself? It's not about quantity, it's about quality. Tammy's comment, yes, movement is critical. I schedule my sessions in weekly. Tammy says as well, good. Set that date with yourself, like Roxy and I talked about. That's exactly it. It's good stuff. How many of you schedule sessions for yourself? Show of hands if it's in your schedule, workout, Pilates, lift, move, yoga, walk, whatever. We Are Pilates House says, love it. I give myself a 5-minute goal. I get on the floor for 5 minutes. Usually I end up craving more movement than that. Sometimes 5 is enough, but 5 minutes is an easy commitment. That is excellent. Excellent word there. That is, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, what Joseph Ply says in Return to Life. I think he says like 15 minutes because that routine of doing that will turn into 20 and then 25 and 30. I think he used that same kind of analogy Joseph Plies did in Return to Life. Set a really easy, low threshold commitment and let your body guide you into more instead of setting a lofty goal that you, one, don't reach, and two, beat yourself up when you don't reach it. So yeah, that 5 minutes. I use the word cadence. Like find your cadence. Like just it's gonna be every other Friday I'm going to do this post. It's going to be 3 days a week that I do this whatever. It's gonna be 15 minutes a day that I do whatever. Like instead of saying I'm gonna be 7 days a week for the whole month of June. And then day 3, you're like, okay, it's gonna be, like we set ourselves up for failure and to make excuses to beat ourselves up when we set those goals too high. As much as it's good to be ambitious, I'd rather be less ambitious and a finisher than overly ambitious and just have 19 things on the go. So We Are Pilates House says, with chronic health stuff, it's been a huge tool for me to check in with my body and see if it needs more movement, and if so, how much. That's a great strategy. Like I'll probably give that strategy to someone today. Like 5 minutes a day, and if you need more, take the more. And if 5's enough, then 5's enough. Thank you. I like things like that. And when I give it to my clients, I tell them sometimes with that too. We Are Pilates House. What's your name? I feel like I'm just talking to a handle. It doesn't even say. But so what I'll do is when someone says, if I give them a strategy like that, is I'll tell them to tell me, text the word done to me. I don't need to know what you did. I don't need to know. Hi, Carissa. I don't need to know what you did. I don't need to know, how many reps and sets or what exercises or how it even felt. Just text the word done, and I'll send you back a high five emoji and we'll call it a day. Just that small element of accountability reinforces their small commitment. It's simple. It's so simple, and people can do that. You can just text me a check mark. And you and I know that means that you got your 5 minutes in. And you can be like, hey, I did it. I did 25 minutes. I did the Stairmaster for 20 minutes and then did my 5 minutes applies, was turned into 25 minutes. I don't need a novel. Just give me a check mark and move on. Because this is what we do. My son in basketball, they talk about like just act like you've been there before. Like you make a big shot, you make a big play. Don't be like, ah. Just be like, been there before. I've made that shot before. I've done this before. This is what I do. This is who I am. That's a different conversation than like making a big deal out of the fact that you did 5 minutes of exercise. Get them in a place where it's like, yeah, this is just what I do. Check mark, done, good to go. Communication, accountability, all wrapped up in that word done. So if you can get people to that place, if we can get ourselves to that place, as is the topic today, and then let that bleed into our other people, I think that's some pretty cool stuff. So yes, thank you for that 5 minute suggestion there, Carissa. That's a good way of packaging that. That might resonate with people in a different way. Scoop Plies and PT says, I feel like I'm always rushing and the quality suffers. Rationally, it doesn't, because I know what I'm doing, but I hate always the rushing feeling. And you know what, too, Phil? I agree with you on that. And my workouts all week have felt rushed. They felt like, okay, usually I talk through this session online. I'm actually going to do it with you today because this is the only chance I'm going to get to move. That kind of stuff. So I feel you. I feel you on that. So the fact that my client drops this morning, didn't drop, like that we discussed it and she decided that she's not going to work, and that was good. And I was able to just take time in my workout was good. And it was weights, it was movement, it was like kind of think about stuff for some clients, a little bit of research and development type stuff. It was my own work. And then lastly came back to posting. It's like I felt like I was in a spot where, okay, this was so good for me. Let me give that to all of you as well. So it went from that, let's squeeze in 5 minutes, to let's make it a full workout, weights, resistance, Pilates, and a post and a reflection and a conversation for core conversations. All that came out of actually having time today. But kudos to you for doing it in spite of the rushing feeling. And I think that that's the point that we're getting to today too, where it's like, it doesn't matter. Like all movement counts. Our clients say, oh, I only did this today. Like, hey, that's awesome. That counts. So for us as movement professionals, when we say it's rushed, it's rushed, it's rushed, it counts, man. Like, you know that. So good on you. Hi, Carrie Miller Pilates. How are you, my friends? And Allison R, what's going on? We haven't even got to the topic of our relationship to strength. We've been talking about that place of refuge. And I was just pulling all these sound bites of my conversation with Noam and Misty yesterday, because it just spoke to me. It really did. And I've listened to most of the conversation a second time already. And I don't know about you, but like these podcasts, I don't push them enough. I put it in the chat at the bottom. But if you get a chance to just go on to your Apple, so good. Thank you, Gary. If you get a chance, just go into whatever your podcast, Spotify has it, I believe. Apple has it. TuneIn has it. There's a bunch of places that has the podcast. Type in the Core Conversations podcast and subscribe to it. Let them play and just listen. Like, it's just like, it just absorbs into your soul. Like the words that Michelle said last week, in that see it, be it moment, or Beth the week before from Buffalo, and just talking about reaching out to her community and then seeing what happened in her community after. It's powerful to hear someone who had a heart for the community and all the things that, when this massacre happened on Saturday and the rhetoric around it, it's like people like her who had a heart for community saying, like, I've been saying this all along. The way that the community is set up, the way that it just set these things up. So you hear in these conversations, people who have a heart for what they do. Let it soak into you and let it inspire you as you look around. You hear that, it absorbs into your soul. You look around at your community and you say, okay, this is how I can give this expression in my sphere. And that's really all I believe is required of us, to do what we can with the people that are in our space. There's your public service announcement for the podcast. So like, subscribe, and share, blah, blah, blah. But that's what's up, because like Noam yesterday was talking about that refuge. We talked about being unique. And as much as we learn all these things in our teacher trainings and afterwards in all of our learnings, affirming that our people are unique is a special thing. And I think that we need to come back to that. I feel like even for my people coming in next, I will circle back to that again and just celebrating the uniqueness of who they are, what is required of them, what their needs are, what their wants are, what I see as their needs, what the expectations of each movement is for them based on how unique they are. So just celebrating those things and bringing those things back to the front helps us build deeper relationships with them, helps them to get to their goals that much faster, helps manage their expectations of themselves and to manage our expectations of them. All the things, all that good stuff. So Noam touched on that yesterday. So I love that talk about just the innate design of us, that constant work for us as fitness professionals, whether it's Pilates, personal training, whatever, to just look at the person and understand what that body's needs are, how you translate the exercise to that canvas that you have in front of you. So that was good. Really, really good stuff. The other thing I've been thinking about was the real technical stuff about strength. So the topic is the relationship of strength. How do I say that right? Yeah. And so it's just a technical piece that's just about looking at strength and what strength even means. And if I want to give you just an example, there's a technical, practical example, walking. Walking is a relationship of muscles tensing and releasing to propel your body forward. You would be hopping if you had every muscle engaged at the exact same time when you're walking. So there's a relationship of the muscles. One's tight, one's loose, one's loose, one's tight as you walk. No one was bringing that into just strength in general and saying like strength isn't just like a flexing or tensing of the muscle, but it's just a strength through a range of motion, a dynamic movement. How do we initiate strength and all these things? So it's just kind of like a geek out conversation about strength, which he was talking about and made me think more about the beginning of strength. Like if I was to stand up from this chair right now, I'm leaning forward. I'm shifting my weight forward and allowing some of that momentum to do the work before I start to engage my muscles. So just thinking about that and how we cue to strength, how we gauge strength, how we set strength as goals. And so it's like, listen to the conversation, listen and try and get some of the context of it. But like there's a static and dynamic stretch strength conversation that happens in there, which once again circles back and translates to how we deal with things in our world. And how we have times that we need to be strong by being strong and be strong by being silent, and those kind of things. So I don't know. I just kind of throwing all these different topics out, and just to hear how they connected with you. If you're there for the conversation yesterday, first of all, show of hands if you're there, and two, what, if anything that was said yesterday resonated with you. The greatest one was that the greatest one for me was that the talk around just the refuge and just being able to hide in our movement and stuff. So that was part of it for me. The topic of today's live was relationship with strength. And that was a piece that Misty was talking about, where she was saying how she loved her body. Her body was her tool when she was dancing, but she wasn't really, no, sorry. Her body was her tool, but she didn't love her body. So that conversation around our perception of ourselves, what it's capable of, do we celebrate that, or are we in a place of not loving our body and stuff like that? I think for us as teachers, most of you in the room and those who watch us later, you get it. And it's more a question of how do you help your clients to navigate out of that? I'm signing up for Pilates because I want a six pack. I'm signing up for personal training because I got to fit into this wedding dress. I'm going on vacation. We have a big family wedding, and whatever it is. Like there's these appearance goals because we're not good enough. And I'm all about goals. I'm all about chasing after goals. And if you want to drop your body fat percentage or whatever it is, and you're solid in your why, do it. But what is the why? How do we help people navigate that? Do you love your body? Can you start with liking who you are at this second before we try and move forward? Those kind of conversations. So that relationship with strength, that relationship with our body is the piece that came out yesterday once again. And that, I hope, informs how you teach. For my clients, I spend so much time. Joseph, how are you, sir? For my clients, that's one of the things I spend a lot of time on, is celebrating what your body can do as opposed to what it looks like. Its appearance will follow its function if you are dedicated to fueling it properly, to giving your body its best chance of success for the thing that you want it to do. And that's going to look different based on what your objective is, if you're committed to that objective. So I like to drill down to why are we even here? Why are we even here? And then work from there, right? So those are some of the things that came up when in that conversation about working with our relationship with strength. What is that like for you? And for your clients, do you find that you also are navigating, helping them to figure out their relationship with their body, their relationship with strength, and how much time are you spending as a fitness professional, Pilates person, personal trainer, cycling coach, helping people to just actually get to a place of liking their body? We have 7 minutes left, and I'm throwing this bomb out there. Do you have clients that hate their body, and how do you get them to a place of appreciating who they are and what they have? That's the baseline question. Have you had to interrupt that self-talk as they put themselves down as they're going through a movement? So we've talked about embodiment and somatics, Carrie, and I hope you're not driving while you're typing, but if you or Tammy or someone else who in the chat talks to those things, we want to just put it in the chat, like a causal version of what that means. That'd be great, because most people, not most people, but some people don't know what that means. Some trainers don't know what that means, but they do it every single day. And I know that for a fact because before I started having conversations with you, Carrie, and others, I recognized that I had the tools, but not the vocabulary. Many of us have the tools, but not the vocabulary, because you're passionate enough as a person and learning and passionate enough about your people that you're always doing the right things, but didn't have a label for it. And if you had that label, then you could dive deeper into the intentionality of it and get better at it. So speak to it, please. Let's see here. 100%. So Where Applies Host says, I like to ask questions and offer insight into what I'm seeing. Great. Helen Hayes Pilates, what's going on? Thanks for joining in. We come from a place of compassion too, right? Like, I mean, because back in the day, you probably felt like that, and now you're in a good headspace with yourself and your body. But then you also sniff it out when someone isn't in that spot, and they're kind of faking it, or they're not doing something, or whatever it is. Like, you know, the telltale signs. You're like, that was me 10 years ago. Let's discuss, right? Right. The subject, Helen Hayes Pilates, is our relationship with strength, a relationship with ourselves, a relationship with our body, in that sense of how do we help navigate, how do we help our clients to navigate when they don't like themselves, they don't like their body or their strength or whatever it is, and they're there because they have goals, but the goals are rooted in a disdain for what they're bringing in the room. How do you help people to just walk through that? So that's kind of where we're at with this topic. So have you had any clients that are in that headspace, and how do you help them out of it? Carrie Miller Pilates says, the language is the tool. The focus comes off the physicality of the body and moves into the perception and the introception of the feet sense of the body, moving them into just being aware of where their body is in space, what they feel, how certain things, what those adjustments feel like, that sort of thing. It's a big one in this 4 minutes left, yes. And this is a freestyle. We had, if you missed, I had Anita and Delphina in earlier in the chat. The two of them met here, and then that was kind of the digital live meeting. If someone wants to jump on with me for 4 minutes and just talk this through, just hit that request to join the live, and I'll bring you on, and we can just talk it up for a couple of minutes. It's interesting. There's some people who are I have a new client now, so we're getting acquainted, and you're starting to hear as they get more comfortable, their self-talk, it's kind of coming out. I'm like, oh, okay, so that's where we're gonna have to work on this, right? So as you get more comfortable, then you start to hear as their guard comes down how they talk to themselves, and where do you interrupt that conversation, right? I love how you have 4 eyes in the word big. That's a big, right? Redirect it all. Yep. Karen Miller's comment, I have conversations with clients. I have many conversations with clients. I redirect it all. Yeah. Yes. Wonderfully and fearfully made, beautifully and perfectly made. We are Pilates House. Let's jump on. And here, I spend a lot of time, Helen Hayes Pilates. I spend a lot of time with my clients telling how beautiful they are and to let go of the word and idea of perfect. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Carissa's coming on. Hi.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. It's
Yep.
Carissa?
Yes, Carissa.
Nice.
Uh,
So cool.
Conversation, but I feel like it's so much to even attempt like text, like, you know.
You don't feel like typing a novel with like, yeah.
And this is not, this is not good. But I so relate. I think as some like. I personally have my own issues with my body, as so many people do, right? And I was talking with my husband yesterday. I was like, you know, I feel like most of my clients kind of struggle with the same things I struggle with, and maybe that's because like that's what I put out, right? But that I have like chronic things, right? Autoimmune things, health stuff, whatever. And I see these people come in who don't trust their body, and they don't trust their feelings in it, or their ability to change the feelings they have in it, or necessarily how to support what their body needs at different times. I see people that have gone through I mean, this is just probably very normal, like cycle stuff, right? But like we see people go through the diet trends and the exercise trends, and then they hurt themselves, and they go through this cycle of like all the stuff, but then they get to a spot sometimes, and hopefully, where they're like, I actually need to learn how to actually take care of myself. And kind of when they like, when I find them there, I'm like, hello, yes, I've been waiting for you.
You have arrived. Welcome. Yes. Come on in.
Yes.
Come. Yes.
But it's but then that is usually the space in which I see people being more open to sharing their mindset, not even if it maybe even unintentionally, right? That's what's really, it's a beautiful spot to be with somebody when they're that open to sharing. I see kind of beliefs about people's bodies come out as they move, and I always say like half our work starts on the couch. Like I have this like green couch over, oh, you can't see it. There we go.
Oh yeah.
Often we sit there for 20 minutes first, you know?
Yeah.
That's where like all the work happens, and I hear about like even just addressing what I'm seeing. Like I said that in the comments, but I do that a lot, and I think that that's really powerful to be like, hey, I see your face looks frustrated. I also see that you did exactly what we asked your body to do, and you killed it. So what's going on? Like,
yes,
you should feel awesome.
What's the conflict here? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But it's even the belief, right, that like, well, I can't do that, or I'm not strong enough, or I have never been able to do that before. And I'm sure any teacher can relate with those experiences. Somebody has a hang up with the word plank. Like maybe they can do a plank, but it's torture in their mind. So just the idea of it, you know, that kind of thing. Anyway, like I just rambled a lot.
That's bang on. Exactly. And even the couch, I've used so many personal training analogies in the last week and a half, but one of the things that we were taught, and I started to teach this when I was doing teacher training stuff, instead of doing like an hour long personal training session, do like a 45-minute personal training session, and then do like static stretching, partner training session stretching at the end. Not because they need it, but because it just gives them a moment to just be still in their body, feel the stretch, and then ask them questions. What do you got going on this weekend? How are you feeling? How did I feel today? How do you feel about the workout? That was like 12 sessions, like 12, da da da. You did that. You did 10 last week. So there's like a debriefing part, much like your couch area there, that happens, that helps people to appreciate what they achieved and kind of battle that messaging.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just even verbalizing like throughout the session too, that's not something I like learned in my training how to do, but it's something that I've like started doing more often is like, hey, I see you're working really hard. I see you're doing this. I see that last week we couldn't do this and this week we can, like pointing out not all of the imbalances, not all of the alignment things that could be a centimeter off,
Right.
pointing out like
Yeah.
how they're killing it, or as it, I see you checking in with your pelvis right now. You weren't sure where it goes and then you found a great spot for it. That looks awesome. How's that? Like that, like more just like literally saying what I'm observing, I think is so
Yes.
more powerful to like, well, if they could do it then without me, they can do it later without me. Right. And then
Right.
they start to believe that they can change the experience they have in their body. And it's my hope that those little beliefs kind of change like more than just one thing, right? Like, well, I
Yes.
change this experience, my body is strong. My bed, you like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's a domino.
Yep. There's a massive domino effect with that, and I'll let me read Helen's comment, and then I want to say something on that. So, as a 63-year-old, I look back and I regret that I wasn't taught to love my body when I was young. I really try to empower my clients, no matter where they are in life, to give them confidence. Yes, that's exactly it. I love that. And isn't it funny? Like, just to close out on this, like I've had clients that like they come to this place where they find themselves, they find their confidence, and the way we do plies is the way we do life, right? So then they do this, and then they're like, I got this job. You're like, hey, it's awesome. Or like, my kid did this, like, awesome. And they're like, and I'm leaving my husband. You're like, awesome. Like, right? They build up so much confidence that they're like, they just like unravel everything in their life with this newfound confidence, right?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah.
Yeah. Watch out, world.
Yeah, really, really, it is watch out world, right? And I think in a sense that's it.
Yeah.
Um,
I love it.
yeah. So, Chris, I want to have you on again. Let's continue let's continue this conversation. I mean, I think just from hearing you talk for a few minutes, that I'm sure your people just love you. If you're coming at their movement experience with that, look at what you can do. Look what you just did. Empowerment. Yeah, that's good stuff.
I love it. Thank you for having me. I have to jet to my next
Oh
session.
yeah.
And actually I saw her.
Yeah.
She's probably like, what are you doing?
You can just give her the replay later. Thanks
Yeah.
so much.
Bye.
Later. Thank you. Nice. Thanks, Cindy. Cheering on your girl. And how that's the other part too. Like just like that confidence, right? Let's celebrate now. Like that's really what it comes down to. And I know that you're doing that, Helen, and so many of you are. So let's continue this conversation tomorrow. I'm not sure if I have a guest. I got to double check that, but I definitely want to unpack a little bit more of that. I'm going to reach out to Carissa after and get her in at some point, and let's keep this going. So keep loving on your people, keep loving yourselves, keep moving, and we are out. Thank you so much, everybody.